Hello!
Hello, AOS fans!
It's time for a wash-up video.
Oh, wash up. COVID-19, keep those hands clean.
Yeah. So we just played our second narrative game between Boss Duffet and Sergeant Ulrich, and if you haven't seen that video, it is in the description. It will be in the link in whichever corner it will be as well. Do go check that out, because from here on in there will be spoilers.
Spoilers.
So, I mean, that we were just talking about this off camera. This game feels so heavy on rules.
Yeah,
It's doing
I really want to like this game.
Yeah, same here.
But
you've got tactical ploys, you've got strategic ploys, you've got spec ups, you've got your objectives, you've got the special rules,
you've got the rules that the fighters have.
Your faction cards got things. It's just so many things, and God help you if you have equipment as well, because then you're like, where's the equipment? Where'd I put that one as well?
I feel like it's sliding away from me a little bit.
I don't know whether it's because you're playing the guard and I think they're tougher to play than the orcs. I think the orcs, each orc stands alone very well and is quite tough, whereas the guard, I think you need to coordinate things more, and I wonder if that's where
it's hard to coordinate things, and that just enables you to like hit them with a bomb squig or a flamer or whatever. So it just feels, I need to get out of the mindset of like I need to win, right? But I can't. I'm struggling to do that. But I just feel like I'm shooting at you, and it all goes ping, 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 and you've got a lot more wounds than me, but I don't do very much damage.
I don't have a lot more wounds than you. It's like a successful hit away, but that can be quite hard to surmount when I'm hiding in cover.
Like, he basically just turned everybody into mist.
He's great if you're near someone, because he can reroll all his hits and he does 3 or 4 damage. So I've only got to get 3 successes over you. And
every time. I did a bit of a silly charge over there with the hardened veteran, but to be honest, I couldn't really have done much else. I mean, I could have shot at you, I suppose. But
I wonder if you should have come in, or if you were within range, I can't remember, grab an objective and just leg it or something. But then I would have charged. You
were right there. So you would have won the objective. So the only way to get those objectives for that turn was to kill you. Be there. Otherwise,
I wonder if you should have shot me.
Yeah, but then maybe I'd have got the objectives next turn. But I wanted to get them that turn, so it was a gamble. And actually,
but if you'd have shot him to pieces and killed him, then you would have got them.
But I was too far away. I suppose if I moved into there, maybe
you could have moved. You could have dashed and then fired or something.
I'd kind of forgotten quite how much damage you did.
I was very lucky that I had my.
But I think you have 5 wounds. I think you have 5 wounds.
I did.
And basically, if I got a crit,
which you did,
well, I did enough. But then you had that stupid ploy.
I had the just a scratch.
And I do feel like your ploys are better than mine.
I don't know.
I get the opportunity to overcharge my las guns, which more often than not means I shoot myself and don't do any damage to you.
But isn't overcharged las guns just you do extra damage or something? Or is it on a one you also get hot?
It basically gives you AP 1.
Okay,
but it makes it hot. Yeah.
I think we missed that a lot then. The AP 1.
I did it once.
Did you?
I did it right at the end.
Maybe we didn't miss it then.
No.
Although, if you did it right at the end, I think I might roll 3 dice to defend on that guy there, so maybe we did. Having said that, I had my grot in the wings waiting to just run in and grab that thing and leg it anyway, so I don't know if you would have been able to
possibly not. If you could have got behind there, there's nothing I could have done.
No, yeah. I mean, there's just so many cards. There's so many rules.
Yeah,
there's so much
it's harder when we record, but by the end of it, I just don't really give a shit anymore. Because how long have we been playing? What's the time now?
Christ, the time now is 1:45.
So we've been playing for about 2.5 hours.
It took so long at the start as well with setup.
Yeah.
It was like, what are the setup rules? What's going on? What equipment are you taking? What are your... I mean, granted, we could have done some of the equipment sorting stuff and character sorting stuff beforehand, and maybe we should have done that. But, I mean, it still added a hell of a lot of time to it.
It did. It did. And I feel... I don't know, I felt like my game plan actually was reasonably good. In fact, if I had got that last shot off, my game plan would have been almost perfect, which was to try and score objectives other ways and not bother going for that and just put people on here and stop you from getting that, which I nearly did. But I think I hadn't really allowed for how good you are at saving things. The orcs seem to be tougher than the...
I wonder sometimes, because some of the things for the guard inherently seem... to go against them, like you've got your spotter and your sniper. Now that sounds like a fantastic combination. All the spotter actually does is let the sniper target someone who's concealed.
Yeah.
I mean, my orcs, I don't think I was concealed. I had one guy concealed, throughout the whole game. So for the most part, that did absolutely nothing. And then your sniper, he can shoot whilst he's concealed because he has the silent trait on his gun. Great. But then he can't overwatch because he's not engaged, which just seems like.
But what I couldn't quite understand was I kept doing multiple activations and I kept thinking I was going to get Overwatch, and I never did. I don't know whether it's because I killed people at the wrong moments, but I didn't get Overwatch. I got Overwatch in the third turn, and I would have got it in the fourth turn if we'd played it through, I think.
I think it's because you had like the extra.
I do have the missile attack, and I think I'm probably a bit salty because I feel like they should be really quite strong, but compared with your fighters, they seem to be rubbish because I don't think I did very much with them at all.
I mean, you very nearly killed both my comms orc and my boy, I think.
But very nearly isn't the same as being dead, you see, and that's the biggest difference. And I think your Bebop person did have a charm life because I did shoot him an awful lot of times when he had one wound.
You did put a lot of firepower into him and he did survive, which was very... I think that was a combination both of good luck for me on my saves and terrible luck for some of your rolls. But then again,
I did roll 4 6s in the middle of that game somewhere.
You did. And I mean, when I charged with my burner boy up here and hit 3 of your guys, I didn't kill... No, I killed one, but you got to use your card, so he got to attack back before he died, and he then killed the burner boy, so he didn't actually achieve very much in the end, and your medic came along and healed everybody.
That is true, he did undo it, so maybe I'm just salty.
It's really hard to tell, though. There's just... I think something... I don't know what it is in this game. Something needs to come out of it so that you haven't got quite so many cards going on. So I don't know if it's just because the 2 warbands in the box have so many unique actions and abilities to each of the fighters, which is another thing to remember on top of the tactical ploys that you can play, the strategic ploys you can play, the tac ops cards that you've got going on, that maybe we're overthinking it, but I don't think recording adds too much time. Even without the recording of it, I reckon this is still going to take us solidly over 2 hours to play a game.
Yeah, I mean, I suffer a bit from analysis paralysis, but I just feel like there is too much, particularly since I don't think it's a competitive game. I think it's a narrative game, and you don't really need all that extra, quite as much of that extra stuff if you're just trying to do a narrative thing. You don't need to be able to... I
mean, it's interesting that they're pushing the competitive angle because there was already a tournament for
I think people like it. They like them. It's a funny... sometimes Games Workshop fall between the two, I think. I don't feel like this game is at all competitive. I don't know how you make it balanced. I think it's...
Well, I don't think that it is balanced when it's competitive. You just find the best combination of I win and you do that.
Well, fair enough. Okay.
I think that's the whole idea. Yeah, that is what competitive is. You just take the best... or one of the best armies with some of the best configurations you can make out of it, and then you play to a particular strategy that wins.
Well, fair enough. But I suppose I feel like the way the game has been designed, it's been designed for narrative play, but there's so many fiddly bits to it, it's almost too complicated for narrative play.
It really does.
It's like if you like playing a role-playing system with an incredibly realistic combat system that just drives you insane. You never actually get to do any role-playing. That's kind of what it feels like a little bit at the moment.
It does feel a bit like that, and
it's frustrating because I really want to like it, because when we set up and we got going, it was brilliant. But
the models look fantastic, the scenery looks great, and there's so much potential in it when you first start out.
And the first turn was good, but I think you have more limited options then, because a lot of your men are concealed, and you kind of... I kind of enjoyed that, but then once we got into it and you were doing things and I was doing things, and my head started to really hurt.
I'm trying to think down here when stuff happened. I mean, your plasma gun guy nuked my slasher boy, and then my breach boy charged in and died. He didn't do anything, and then he charged and did nothing, and you charged and killed him. So that all was going great over there. But then your confidant, was it a confidant or a hardened veteran?
Confidant.
He charged in and killed my sniper, and then he died to my boss.
Yes, but the sniper had already taken a lot of damage because I'd already shot him.
He'd already taken some damage, yeah.
I was enjoying it. I can't quite... It just seems to take too long. I think that's really what it...
It does seem to take absolutely ages. I don't know whether that's just because we sit there and...
Or maybe.
for ages, or whether it's just because there are so many bloody things. It's like... I was trying to work out if I could because we've got our strategic ploys. We've printed these out and put them into a little deck. So I was trying to work out if I want my strategic ploys. I just work out, do I want to play with these? If so, put them in front of me. Put the rest to the side, so I haven't got to think about it. Then tactical ploys. Which ones can I realistically play?
But then you still forget still forgets to actually use them. So you're like, yes, I'm going to put this one here, but then you forget to use it
because I'm then doing something else, and I'm like, oh, now I've got the I can't even find the bloody cards I'm talking about. I can't. So I've got the Dakka boy. I'm like, okay, I want to use the Dakka boy. Oh, he's got his unload slugs ability and his Dakka dash thing. So I'm doing all this and stuff, and then like, oh, I forgot to do that other thing. At the end of it, it's just.
And I feel a little bit like with the veterans, you spend a lot of time working all that out, and you roll a dice, and actually it just comes to nothing. So you might as well not bother spending all that time working it out. I
do see you had some terrible dice in this game.
Well, it's hard to know. I just, yeah. I think maybe I've just got unrealistic expectations of my probabilities. Maybe I need to sit and work them out. But I think it gets very complicated trying to work them out because you do have a lot of re-rolls here and things there, and you have them as well. So then there's things that I think, oh, that's a dead cert. I mean, the classic example in this way where you had that ploy to completely ignore the damage, which is, just one of those things.
It just feels like, on one hand, the Krieg want to be near each other. You want your leader to have his comms guy near him. You want your sniper to have the spot near him. But actually, I don't think the sniper benefits a great deal from the spotter, because it's only useful if somebody's concealed.
It's good to winkle out your spotter, sniper.
My sniper,
because
possibly
he's. I think
in the end, it was someone down here who charged in and slapped him about that actually did him.
Yeah. But I feel like your sniper is more dangerous than mine because yours doesn't. My people are weaker, so it's quite hard. My sniper, I have to roll quite well to take somebody out with one shot.
But if you get a couple of crits in there, the chances are I'd be dead. But that's like 2 6s on 4 dice, or whatever it is.
Yeah,
there is that. I just feel like because all of my guys are generally doing stuff and can come in and wreck face to some extent, whereas you've got a medic who you don't really want getting near the action. You've got a spotter you don't really want getting near the action. You've got your leader you don't really want getting too close early on because he's going to be giving things out. It just
he died. That made a big difference. Him dying because I lost his ability to do the extra order, which is occasionally useful. I think I've got quite a lot of close combat guys, and I perhaps don't want to have those because they're not actually all that good. Although I did take out a couple of fighters with close combat.
Yeah, I mean, you took out my breacher boy in close combat. You took out my my sniper up here as well, so it's hard to tell. I mean, maybe
I think we're just rambling now.
I mean, it's just really hard to tell what it is about this game that's frustrating us at the minute.
Because I mean, maybe I'm just a bad loser because I really enjoyed the first 2 turns, but I think I was probably having the share of the luck then.
I was very worried at that point because I couldn't score any of my objectives. I had a horrible set of objectives and I couldn't score any of them.
But maybe that's partly it because although it was going okay, and I was only scoring 1 objective point, and I knew
you've really got to focus on your objectives.
I couldn't score very many others because one of them was to hold things at the end of this turn. I just thought there's no way I can get the bodies over there to hold them. I knew I wasn't going to be able to. Anybody I put here, you were just going to kill. So there was no point in trying to get the petrol. So all that was left was hold the objectives.
Yeah.
I think I can't remember there was much else, but
I mean, maybe once you'd captured that objective over that side, you should have just legged it with him.
Maybe
it's hard to tell.
Maybe, but I was trying and force this to win this, but then I think actually maybe I should have just run away. But then that's a bit boring.
I think maybe that was a bit over enthusiastic to try and capture something right by my deployment zone, maybe.
Yeah, and that's part of the problem. A couple of the things, like one of the other ones I had is I've got to have more people within hexagon of my deployment zone and more people than you within your deployment zone within hexagon of pentagon of. So then that's really hard to do, even at the best of times.
That feels impossible to do, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what it is. I should be enjoying this game a lot more because I've won 2 games and by the end of it, I just feel battered. It's just so much effort, and I think it's GW's typical thing of, let's come up with some new fighters, and they can all have nice abilities because that's cool. And then we'll have the tactical ploy cards, and they're going to be really cool. And then we're going to have the strategic ploy cards because they're cool as well. And then you're going to have your missions because that's cool. And then we're going to have the scenario missions as well, because that's really cool. It's too fucking much.
Too cool. It's too cool.
Too
for
cool,
school.
man. It's really not cool anymore. Not cool at all. It just gets to a point where it starts to melt my brain.
Yeah. So there we go. So this is a bit of a bummer. I think obviously we are going to carry on.
I wonder how much easier it would be if we played with just some of the some of the kill teams from the compendium. Yeah. There would be less going on, but you would still have tactical ploys and strategic ploys and your missions and stuff like that. So the only thing you wouldn't have so much
the
of
fighters are a little bit flavoursome, aren't they? The fighters themselves.
Yeah. I wonder if it's just because for you the Krieg are quite a they've got quite a lot going on the cards, and maybe that's something that's just another level, because you've also got your leaders' orders as well.
Exactly, that extra thing, and the ancillary support things. I think it would be okay if I don't really feel like they actually do very much. So you've got all these little complicated things.
Yeah.
But in reality, I think the effect of not having them, you probably barely notice.
Yeah, things like your spotter. It's got this whole thing which actually 90% of the time is just fucking
But
waste.
even like re-rolling ones. I mean, okay, yeah, it does have a small effect. But I'm not sure whether it might be better not to have that. Or you have like the rosary is quite good. But you can only use it once. So then you have to... First you have to remember to use it. Then you have to remember you can't use it anymore.
Yeah.
And it kind of just... I don't know. Maybe it's because it's late.
Maybe it's because it's late, but I mean... We've played games of Underworlds where we've gone to midnight, and at the end of it we've been quite hyped.
Yeah.
Because it's been a great game, it's been really close. And this kind of does remind me of some of the reasons why I liked Underworlds. Because it is fast, nice and quick and easy to play, and it's generally, there's not too much. In comparison to this, Underworlds is so simple.
Yes.
And I remember sometimes we were sitting there going, Underworlds is getting very complex. It's got nothing.
Maybe we're going to love Harrowdeep when we get back to it.
Maybe we're like, oh my god, this is so easy.
It's just because I'm a bad loser, and I got to get into the narrative mindset of not caring so much whether I win or lose.
Yeah, but I won and I still feel bad.
Right, okay.
I still feel mentally
exhausted,
fraught and exhausted by the end of that, of all the crap that we had to try and remember, and I'm just like, wow, I just...
Yeah, well... yes, so there you go. So we've invested
all
this time and effort in Kill Team, and suddenly we're thinking,
I like you, I want to really love this game. I want it to be great fun, and I'd love to hear from people out there in the internet lands. Do comment below. One, if you think we've made any major mistakes during this game, but are we playing this wrong somehow? And two, have you played it, and are you finding a similar level of just brain deadening sort of...
I know people have commented that the Krieg are hard to use, and I don't know, I just got to the point where I just thought, I don't really care what happens now. That's why I charged over there, just for
shits and giggles.
Really, yeah, because it's just like,
it's like, I just want to get this over and done with. You kill me, then it'll be over and done with quicker.
And it was a gambit, but yeah. Yeah, so this is all a bit of a ramble, I think, probably because it's very late at night, and
also because I don't think there's anything... We didn't have any epiphanies during the game. It wasn't like we sort of had a bit where we were thinking, oh, actually, it's much better if you do this thing than if you do that thing. It just seemed like...
I feel like... This is actually what I was going to say when I said about being a bad loser for the second time. What I actually meant to say was, I feel like, and it may be because I'm not very good at the game, I feel like the Krieg objectives and things are really hard to score, and they're very bad at scoring the ones that they've got, because a lot of them involve being alive, and they're quite hard to keep alive.
You look like you're hiding from the camera as well.
A lot of them
are still there.
A lot of them require being alive, and it's quite hard to stay alive.
Unless all your guys are sort of sitting there hiding and doing stuff.
I mean, there's one I rejected, which is don't lose any fighters you can't use it in the first turn, I think, and then don't lose any fighters.
It's just how you can ever do that
on the wall this size, or it would make the game very dull.
Yeah, because you just hide behind stuff all the time.
Yeah, so I feel like they've got security as the only one they could take tack ops of. But I always feel like some sort of infiltration thing might be better, where they could at least run forward and infiltrate for a turn and get some victory points, and then Okay, they might die afterwards. They might die afterwards, but it's very hard to secure anywhere with Krieg. But perhaps I'm playing the wrong. So do let me know what
Yeah, are we doing something obviously wrong here?
I'm not great at strategy in this type of game, so maybe I'm just not utilising them to their best. I don't think it would have helped to have 4 extra people, particularly in this scenario.
Unless you were just going to swarm the middle. And then just go stuff, but then I've got my flamer that can hit loads of
there
people
isn't any point in swarming
together
because you could just take them all out fairly easily. And I don't think I rolled particularly well from them, but I felt like the barrages would be better, would suit me better in this game.
I do think you were unlucky with those. I still
because I think I could have shot. I was thinking, when you get the tank, I'll blow it up.
Which you did do the first time. I was just very lucky that you didn't manage to kill him by the end of it, and then he managed to survive. I wonder whether the first thing you should have done at the beginning of the 3rd round was just to shoot him and take him out, because I would have been much less able. But then if you'd done that, then...
I could have shot him with the sniper at the beginning of the 4th turn rather than the lasgun.
You could have done it at the beginning of the 3rd as well with somebody.
Right.
But either way, I'm not sure it would have made too much difference in the end. It's very hard to tell. Very, very hard to tell. And I think that's what's the most frustrating thing is I don't know... I can't sort of say at this point. I think because of this thing, it's ruining the experience. It's just something's breaking that experience for me, and I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I think it's the number of different pluses and minuses and re-rolls and things you can do.
Could be.
And I feel a little bit like, and this may just because I was on the receiving end of it, particularly that one with the just a scratch.
Yeah,
it's a bit of a gotcha thing.
That is a nice card.
Because it's like, and also it's not like you can do some. It's like some of them. It's very powerful. Maybe if you had to burn it at the beginning and maybe you didn't use it, or maybe if it was one use, because some of my good things are only one use, and not so much the ploys. But
it is a command point each time. So if I've only got 1 or 2,
you get one a go. You get one a turn. So I know obviously you have choices to make. So, but it basically means every turn you can stop an attack, which is pretty powerful. I don't know. I didn't like that. Probably because I was on the back foot by then. And
you had a brief glimpse of success on something, and then I just snatched it.
Most of mine are like upfront things. So in advance I'm going to be rolling ones. You know that I'm going to get extra defense things. Do you know what I mean? There isn't anything. I have nothing. I can spring out and go aha. I think there's something I can do where I've shot somebody and I can play something and I can get pluses to shoot them after the second time. I think, but there's nothing that kind of. There's no nope cards.
Maybe we should play a game swap kill teams.
No, maybe. But then when I lose that, I'll really be upset.
Well, there is that danger, but I'm wondering if maybe it's just because Orcs is better than Krieg.
Or maybe it's Peaches is better than Robin. Maybe that's it. Yeah, that's probably it.
Even if that is the case, by some bizarre twist of fate, I still have finished this game. Have beaten you, and I'm just mentally deficient. I'm just done. I'm not finishing this game and feeling enthused about that was really good. I really liked this. I really enjoyed that. It was just that was a slog. That was painful.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's only our 3rd or 4th game.
Third.
Is it okay?
Third and a fourth.
No, it's our fourth game. Yeah, and so I kind of feel. Maybe we still haven't quite know it, but I do feel a bit like I wished it had been 3 turns, if you know what I mean. Kind of like I didn't want to go into the 4th turn, even not just because of the result, just kind of like actually I'm tired now and I want to.
Maybe it's because we start late.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because of the recording. I mean, we probably should try and play a game of this without the camera running and see if that makes our life less painful when we haven't got to present it to you, the viewers at home, and maybe we should play our next game off camera, and then we can just report back on how it went.
Yeah, we're not going to do that.
Probably not. Maybe. Who knows? Anyway, we've said it about 5 times. Tried to wrap it up several times, but we're going to wrap it up here. Do let us know in the comments below if after you watched the video you found that we were just doing things bizarrely wrong, or we were just making our own lives difficult, or are you finding similar that you've tried to get into Kill Team and it just seems like it's just too much going on, or are you finding that the Krieg are just not as good as the Orcs? Maybe that's it. Maybe it's just
maybe it's not me.
Yeah, maybe it's
But
maybe
they look
it's
so
me.
great. They look so great.
They do look awesome. They do look awesome.
If only there was some other skirmish game by another company where we could use these figures for.
You could have some kind of area where things within it aren't alive.
Okay.
What would you call that?
I don't. So like a section or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where everything has an alternate state that isn't
not
existing.
Okay.
Could be like
deceased area.
Something like that.
Deceased section.
Yeah,
Okay,
something
yeah.
like that.
Oh.
Yeah, the unliving place, or I don't know, what would you call that? Dead zone. Boy zone. Maybe dead zones. You know what we're after. It's much simpler. There's a lot less faffing. Who knows? Maybe
we haven't played it, but people keep telling us, and not just Morph. People keep telling us that the Dead Zone is good, and I, having now played 2 or 3 games of this, or 3 or 4 games of this, I'm now thinking actually maybe I do want to look at a different set of skirmish rules.
Maybe we do want something simpler.
Because if I could take, we've talked about the models, we love the models. If I could take these models into a different game setting, then I could almost see myself playing that more. So it's a bit of a journey. That's a bit of a revelation. We probably need to cut out like 15 minutes of this chat.
Just come up with that bit
at the end.
Just put that.
There's a bit of a revelation because I really like the aesthetic.
I love the aesthetics of this. I love it all. And obviously, if we do end up trying something else, we'll be able to use all of this stuff still.
Yeah.
So it's not like we'll have to go and buy a whole new set of models. Obviously, they do their own models and train, but that's a good thing about any of these things. You can use your own. So
what do you think, guys? I mean, lots of you often suggest skirmish games that we could play. The Dead Zone's an obvious one. There is Stargrave or something now as well. Are there other futuristic skirmish games that we should be picking up and looking at? Let us know in the comments below.
So there you go. Loads of questions for you lot to answer. So we expect your essays by Monday morning. No, it's just joking. Yeah. But do let us know what systems you think we should try out and compare to this. How are you finding the Krieg? How are you finding the game? Did you notice anything that we're doing that's just nonsense? We would love to hear your opinions and your comments in the comments below.
Absolutely.
So we'll see you next time.